This is one of those topics that I get asked about a lot here on YouTube and over in my Instagram post and DMs, all about hair health and the things that I do, I take, and I supplement with to get the healthiest, shiniest hair. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about 8 ways to get healthier, shinier looking hair. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jessica. I'm a nutritionist as well as a nutritional therapy practitioner. So I'm actually on quite a bit of a hair journey. For those of you who've been with me for years, you know that I've had my hair at a level 2, which is like the closest to black, for probably 18 years. So my hair has been very dark. I do have dark hair naturally, but as I'm getting older, I'm looking for a softer look, and I just felt like the dark hair was looking a bit harsh on me and my skin tone and my eye color, so I've decided to lighten things up. Well, through this journey, I've been dealing with a lot of hair breakage, of course, as we are lifting and bleaching my hair. I will insert some footage and pictures here of my very long, dark, healthy hair, and as we've been doing this lifting process, I've had to cut quite a bit off, and there's definitely been a lot of damage throughout the hair shaft. So I'm doing everything in my power to nourish my hair and keep it healthy during this journey. When we think of healthy hair, we don't typically think of hair follicles, but that's actually indeed where it starts. And the average scalp is made up of 100,000 hair follicles. So it's really important to nourish these hair follicles to the best of our ability in order to grow the healthiest and shiniest looking hair. These follicles are pouches, and they're living and breathing, and there's cellular nutrition that goes to them. So increasing our nutrition and doing a couple of my favorite hair care secrets can make a huge shift faster than you would think. But before we talk about the 8 tips, I want to cover really quickly the different stages of hair growth and how that's important to your hair care journey. The first phase is, of course, hair growth, and this can last between 2 and 7 years for each individual follicle. So it's really important that what you're seeing that's coming out of your head, and definitely what you're seeing as it grows down your hair shaft, is indicative of where you were many, many years ago in your life. Like, we can go back and think through stressful times in our life, and then sure enough, we're experiencing hair that's a bit more frizzy, experiencing a bit more hair loss. There's all of these different things that go into the actual growth of your hair. And while you may not realize it in the moment, that if we're undernourished or if we're overstressed, you may not see that immediately, but long term, that will impact your hair follicles and the nourishment and the cellular growth that happened in those follicle pouches. So I always say, whatever you do now, while you may not see it the next day in the mirror when you're doing your hair, do know that it is serving you long term. Then there's the regression phase of hair growth. So we've gone through a ton of growth. We've gone through this very heavy, active phase of our hair. And now, for about a week or 2, the hair begins to break free from the blood vessel and the follicle, and it begins to regress. And this phase is important because it detaches from those blood vessels. After our hair has begun to regress, then it moves into the rest phase. And the rest phase is where it begins to detach itself from those blood vessels that were in that pouch. And this is when the hair is actually at its weakest. So during these phases of your hair growth, which about 9% of your hair at any given time is in the rest phase, we want to be extra careful and extra gentle. And we're going to get through all of those tips and tricks next. But I just thought it was important to understand these different phases. So then after our rest phase, we move into our shedding phase, which is perfectly normal to an extent. Excessive shedding is something that you definitely want to look into if you feel like you're somebody who does experience excessive shedding. However, shedding is a normal and the last phase of hair growth. So now that we know the growth, the regression, the rest, and the shedding phases, I think it's really important to cover these 8 tips and tricks, whether it's from an external standpoint or an internal standpoint, on how to support our hair to have healthier hair growth and to support it through all of its different phases. No matter what treatments you do at-home hair care is really, really important. And setting up your tools in your toolkit to support this healthy hair is critical to the journey. And the first thing I will say, because it's something you do every day, probably multiple times a day, and that is brush your hair. And your hairbrush does matter. It is important. I love, love, love the Tangle Teezer hair brushes. There's a ton of different varieties. This one is my favorite. I find it to be the most gentle hairbrush, not only on my hair, but on my children's hair as well. It doesn't do that pulling and that snagging when your hair is wet. Additionally, in the morning when I wake up, I kind of let my hair down. I sleep in like a satin scrunchie, and when I let it down, I can gently start from the bottom all the way up to the top and brush through my hair. Additionally, if you're somebody who does use heat and you style your hair, it won't take out all of your curls or your hairstyle. And that's really important to me, because if you're excessively brushing and we're causing more breakage and damage with our styling tools, then that's just kind of going against everything that we're attempting to do from today's video. You want your hair to bend, and you want your brush to bend and be flexible and move with your hair rather than against your hair, causing excessive pulling. Also, what I find to be great about the Tangle Teezer, and I kind of shifted you guys down, is that as my hair gets a little bit greasier, I use the Tangle Teezer to gently kind of massage my scalp and pull the natural oils down through my hair. Our scalp does have these beautiful natural oils that are extremely nourishing, so I love that this brush can kind of weave that all the way through my hair shaft. Next, I want to talk about B vitamins, and I'm sure all of you have heard about biotin, but biotin is just one of many B vitamins. B vitamins in general, the entire category of B vitamins, are incredible for your hair and your skin and nervous system and many other things as well. But all B vitamins, not just biotin, are supportive of healthy hair, because what these do is B vitamins help your body break down macro and micronutrients and turn it into cellular energy. You're thinking, well, why is cellular energy important to my hair? Well, cellular energy is critically important to our hair, because when we use these B vitamins and we can actually metabolize them and utilize them in our cells as cellular energy, it increases the pathways all the way down to our hair growth through our hair follicles. We need our cellular energy to function properly, to be able to divide and split and pace itself into different energy pathways, and through that, it gives it enough energy to create and form healthy looking hair. Now, this is not going to be a shock to anybody, but moisture is really important to our hair. I know that if you're somebody who struggles with frizzy hair, and I am right there with you, it gets very humid where I live in the summer months, and it gets very dry where I live in the winter months. So finding that perfect balance can sometimes be really hard, but moisture is so important to protect that healthy hair that we've been working so hard to grow. And when we have healthy, lustrous, moisturized hair, it prevents that excess breakage that can come from styling, and of course, all of the different things and treatments that we put our hair through. It can be really challenging if our hair is dried out and not moisturized. So whether it's to cold air, it's to hot air, it's to sunshine, it's to pools, it's to the ocean, different types of water, having beautiful, healthy, moisturized hair will just put a level of protection over top of the hair shaft so that it's more durable to deal with these daily encounters. I will link 2 of my favorite moisturizers for you in the description box down below. The Loma hair oil is truly my go-to, as well as the Olaplex number 6. I love that leave-in conditioner. So I will link both of those for you in the description box down below. Moving into number 4, we have to talk about antioxidants. Like any other cell in our entire body, our hair and our hair follicles also rely on antioxidants to prevent oxidative stress and to become more adept to dealing with oxidative stress. Vitamins A, C, and E work together collectively to protect the cells against free radicals and those damaging effects. So these antioxidants blend together beautifully. And I will, of course, link some of my favorite antioxidants for you in the description box down below, as well as B vitamins. But these antioxidants work collectively together to protect the hair follicles and, of course, the hair from oxidative stress and free radicals that we come in contact with on a daily basis. The next supplement that I'm sure many of you have heard of for healthy skin and healthy hair is collagen. And that is because collagen serves as a building block from the amino acids and protein to build healthier, stronger, and thicker hair from the inside out. These building blocks are critical during that first growth phase that we talked about. When our hair is attached to the follicle in that protective pouch, these amino acids serve a critical role in building and forming. Collagen can not only impact the structure of your hair, but it can also impact the pigment of your hair. So if you are somebody who has gone gray early, or you experience a lot of stress and you've noticed an increase of gray hair, then I would highly encourage you to look into adding collagen into your routine. Again, I will link a few of my favorites for you in the description box down below. But aside from structurally impacting that initial growth of the hair, at that very same time, our pigment is also formed. So you can increase the pigment that's put into the follicle, as well as increase and change the structure of your hair from these proteins and amino acids that are in collagen. So it is really remarkable what we can do. And I love to add collagen simply into my coffee every morning. It is tasteless most of the time. You also can add it into your evening or afternoon tea. It's such an easy supplement to add in. And other than our hair, like most things that we're covering in today's video, it does have a positive impact on your skin as well. Because of those amino acids and those building proteins, that also helps do the same thing with cellular turnover for your skin. Another thing about collagen that kind of takes us back to our first tip is that it is also a rich source of antioxidants. So you get another serving of antioxidants whenever you're adding in collagen to kind of fight off any of that extra free radical or oxidative stress. Speaking of gray hair, this next tip is really important, not only for the pigment of your hair, but just that overall liveliness, luster to your hair, and that is minerals. Minerals are so important. They are like the little engine that they keep everything operating and running under the surface. We hear so often about macronutrients, but micronutrients, which are made up of minerals, are critically important building blocks in our body and, of course, therefore in our hair. Minerals like zinc, iodine, potassium, selenium, and magnesium are just a few of the critically important minerals that go into cultivating and creating that healthy hair base in the initial growth stage. They are what I would deem essential. These essential minerals are needed and completely necessary for the actual and initial growth phase in the follicle. Without minerals, you are unable to grow healthy hair. They are directly responsible for that initial follicle growth and for the cell turnover that happens in the follicle when we do shed and begin to grow new hair. If you're somebody who eats a well-versed diet, then you might be getting all of the minerals that you need. But if you're somebody who's noticing a little bit of extra gray hair after a stressful time in life, or you just live a fast-paced life, then I will link some of my favorite minerals for you in the description box down below. Mary Ruth's multi-mineral is probably my favorite, and nobody is surprised to hear me say that, but I love that multi-mineral, and it does include many of the antioxidants that we spoke about earlier. So you'll get a cumulative effect by taking that one supplement, and it will help tremendously with that initial growth phase of your actual hair and your hair follicle. My 7th tip, and something I've definitely been taking a lot more seriously since bleaching my hair and going lighter, is masking once a week. Just giving your hair this little extra TLC. It takes 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Most masks only require 10 to 15 minutes, but just this little habit, and I've been doing it on Sunday nights. Now it's second nature, but it is making a huge difference. There's been a lot of hair breakage, and then I do have new hair growth that's coming in. So I've had like a lot of frizz that I've been experiencing, especially in the crown area. And giving my hair this extra TLC of masking once a week has made a tremendous difference to the moisture, which brings us back to earlier in the video, but increasing my overall moisture on a daily basis with these hair oils and treatments, and then giving it that little extra oomph on the weekends of a hair mask for 15 to 20 minutes has made a huge difference in the overall breakage. At first, when I first started to lighten my hair, I wasn't masking once a week, and there was so much hair breakage. Even using my Tangle Teaser, when I would brush through, I would see it on the counter, just chunks of hair breaking off from the bleach, unfortunately. But now that I've been masking and I have this bonding nourishment, it's been helping my hair stay healthy throughout the color treating process. And lastly, my 8th tip, and that is vitamin D. And vitamin D is actually a hormone synthesizing nutrient. And hormones are so important for our skin, for our hair, for our energy, and for our overall health. And vitamin D in some of the recent research has been shown to play a significant role again in that initial hair growth phase. We know photosynthesis from plants. When there's water and when there's sunlight, there's indeed growth. Similarly, with our hair, when there is nourishment, when there is hydration from the inside out, and then we bring in that vitamin D, it also helps us, of course, grow healthy, thick, luscious hair, as well as vitamin D has been shown to regulate the hair follicles. So regulation of hair follicles is really important because you want to keep that follicle healthy for as long as possible. And even after it sheds and then it forms that new envelope for hair growth, we want to ensure that as the follicles come out of our head, they are at their healthiest, and then they can come all the way down and make a huge impact on the look of your hair, because that's when you get that healthy, voluminous, shiny looking hair, is when you have that nourished, thick follicle. So I hope that you found today's video helpful, and I will link everything that I mentioned for you in the description box down below. And then let me know in the comment section, what are your favorite tips and tricks for growing healthy hair, or what was surprising to you about today's video that you found informative that you'll be including in your hair care routine. If you like this video, you can give it a big thumbs up, and now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click, that way you don't miss a single video, and I hope to see you back here next Thursday.